Waiting to see if anyone shows up every time. Hi, Wendy. Hey, Charlene. Hi, guys. And once again, there's like nobody there, and all of a sudden everybody's there. My glasses are dirty. What a weekend, man. What a weekend. Amanda from Atlanta. Hey, Amanda. Hey, guys. I figured this wouldn't be much of a live because it's the Sunday after July 4th, and the weather outside is gorgeous, and I figured everybody would be outside. So I'm trying to get this padded thing around my neck. Market Garden. Wait, where is it? As I live and breathe. Hey, yeah, I'm still alive, still kicking. None the worse for wear. So let me tell you, Zephyr, not last night, but the night before, I'm doing everything they told me. I'm on steroids. I'm on Tylenol because, I don't like narcotics. So I'm on steroids, Tylenol, 1,000 milligrams every 6 hours. They slung my arm. They put me on a lidocaine patch, which I didn't think that was going to do a whole lot, but actually those lidocaine patches work really well. And I was doing everything I was supposed to do. First night in bed, I did not sleep. I couldn't get comfortable. My arm was killing me. And I finally fell asleep, and I slept about, seriously, like maybe 2 hours. And I fell asleep during the day, and I napped, and I went to bed the next night. And I woke up an hour later in the most excruciating pain. Like my muscles were spasming. I was in tears. My husband was like, okay, that's it. We got to go. So he puts me in the car, and we head to the emergency room. This is like midnight. And I'm like, midnight on July 4th, that place is going to be packed with injuries. But what can we do? And so we go in, and the place is empty. I was shocked. And they were like, the doctor goes, look, you can't be like this. We're going to have to give you a narcotic. I said, please, no IV stuff. And I don't do well with narcotics. I'm already on a CPAP. I don't breathe well. They have to put me on oxygen. I'm like, I don't like this. But she gives me a narcotic pain medication pill, my Tylenol, and a muscle relaxer. And all of a sudden, it was the weirdest thing. It just went, and it stopped. It's crazy. So yesterday, with the high steroids, I was feeling much better and took my arm out of the sling. The doctor said, don't leave it in the sling 24/7 or you're going to freeze your shoulder. So I started taking my arm out of the sling, letting it hang. I still can't lift it beyond like here. It will not lift, and I can't rotate it out from my body either. It's just there. So I was feeling much better. I decided to help hubby out. He'd been taking care of me for days, and I decided to do a little work. Big mistake. That was a mistake. You know me, I can't just sit. So last night I took a muscle relaxer, put a big ice pack on my arm, and fell asleep. And this morning I'm back in the sling again. So I said it in my post, growing old is not for the weak. Because here's the weird thing. I didn't injure myself really. So here's what happened. My son came home from college. And yes, Camilla, that's exactly it. You have to hold your arm across your body and hold it up, or it feels like it's being ripped off. That's exactly it. So my son came to me and said, hey, Mom, could you help me move this desk? I'm like, the desk weighed nothing. Like it didn't even weigh anything. And so I helped him pick up this desk and move it. And the next day my arm started to hurt. And then it got worse and worse and worse until I couldn't move it anymore. Of course, I called my ortho. Sorry, he's not in the office today. And then they're closed for July 4th. And blah, blah, blah. So then I went to an urgent care who did all this other stuff for me. And then all of a sudden we ended up in the emergency room. So I did everything exactly as I was supposed to, but it just got way worse. And they're telling me that it could be weeks before I even have partial use of my arm again. And I'm probably going to have to go into PT. So growing old, I told my son, I said, don't you ever ask me again to move a piece of furniture. I don't care if it weighs 2 pounds. I'm not, no. And I mean, I don't get it. I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? See, we think that we can do stuff we used to be able to. Yeah, but I didn't. I just lifted this one half of a desk and moved it 10 feet. I mean, I didn't do anything. And yes, growing old does suck, but I always remind myself of the alternative. So I'll take it, but it's definitely not for sissies. Yeah, it's not for sissies. It certainly beats the alternative, but yeah, this is not for sissies at all. So hang on, my phone is going ding ding, notification. Like, what is going on? Okay. I got mine sleeping. Yeah, they thought it was my rotator cuff. I told them, I said, this is not my rotator cuff. I can tell you now, it's not. It's not. So it's just one of those things that just I'm like slung. I had to take a shower earlier, and so my husband put my hair up on my head for me with the clip, and then I stood in the water with my arm away from the water because I didn't want to get the lidocaine patch wet. It's very weird to wash your hair and wash everything with one hand, and dry everything with one hand. If you're not used to it, it's so weird. And then I said to my husband, I can't put my hair in a ponytail because I can't pick up my left arm. So my husband did this for me today. What do you think? He tried. He tried. And then he had to put my shoes on and tie my shoes for me. So, yeah, see, that's my problem too. In my mind, I'm still 25. That's it. So, it's not calcium. If that is directed towards me, it's not calcium deposits. I strained my bicep, but I strained it really badly. And so it's going to take a while to get better. So, all right. So anybody else have anything? Wait a minute. Should have let husband dry. No. Oh my God. He's already having to handle everything and he's cooking the dinners. Slipped, couldn't pick up it there. That's it. My husband's been cooking the meals and helping me get up out of bed. And when I sat down, you don't realize how much you use all of this when you go to get up. I would go to stand up. I couldn't get up. He'd have to pull me up with this arm. I'm like, go easy, because I only have one arm left. I can't drive. Yeah, I'm kind of trapped here for a little while. So that's why this reminds me of when I was in a cast after my car accident with this hand, when I broke my thumb in 4 places and I had the cast that went from the tips of my fingers down to my elbow. It's really weird. No cooking. Yay. Yeah. He's having to cook. He actually did the dishes, y'all. Like, he filled the dishwasher, ran it, and emptied it. I swear. Just like crazy. Oh my God. He's been helping me get up and out of bed and tying my shoes and doing my hair. And it was so funny. He said, how do I put your hair in a ponytail? And I just looked at him. I said, what? He goes, how do I put your hair in a ponytail? And I had to explain it. You don't think about it. He's been watching me do it for 25 years, not 27 years, but he didn't know how to do it. So cute. Yeah, look on the bright side. It could have happened before Naples. I do realize that. I am looking on the bright side. If this had happened in Naples, I would not have been happy. Sit back and enjoy the fuss. Oh, that's mean. He's like Harry. I'm not even going to tell him you said that because, yeah, no, he's nothing like Harry. Acupuncture once a week and physical therapy. I've never had acupuncture. I don't even know if they have that sort of thing in this area, but This is funny. You'll have to wear sweats. Okay. So for the past 4 days, I've been walking around the house in a tank top t-shirt with no bra on, just, my sleeping shirt and underwear. Nothing else. Because I couldn't get the shirt on and off. I wasn't leaving the house. There's no point in getting out of I even wore that to the, I wore that shirt with no bra to the ER. And then, husband helped me put on some shorts to go to the ER, but I've been walking around. I mean, what's the point of getting dressed? I can't get my clothes on and off. So, oh my God, it feels like a vacation. Yeah. This doesn't feel like a vacation. As a matter of fact, you guys know how I am about keeping the house clean. Like every day I do 1 load of laundry, so there's no laundry. I do 1 load of dishes, so there's no dishes. I hit the button for the vacuum. I get the vacuum. I make the bed every day. My bed hasn't been made for 4 days. It's like messing with my head that I can't make the bed. It's killing me that I can't make the bed. So yesterday, like I said, the steroids made it feel so much better. I wiped down all the kitchen counters, right hand only. I wiped down all the kitchen counters. I ran the vacuum I did the laundry, right hand only, threw everything in the machine, turned it on with the right hand, moved everything into the dryer with the right hand, turned the dryer on. I did it all because after sitting here for 4 days and watching everything kind of degrade in the house, it was freaking killing me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't just sit there. So yeah, he is a gem, but you know what? I wouldn't have expected anything less at this point, seeing as how I usually take care of everything. I would have been expecting him to hand out. So, what is this? Meghan Markle is releasing perfume. I'm sure it'll sell out in 5 minutes. I'm sure it'll smell just like Diana's perfume. Ugh. So, you know what that reminds me of, Lynn? You know what that reminds me of? I had a patient once. This had to have been like 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago. This patient was playing basketball and fell. And you know how when you fall, you put your hand out to break your fall? And he put his hand out and he broke both of his wrists. I'll never forget, both wrists were in these splints. And his father was going to have to wipe his ass every time he went to the bathroom, and he was going to have help getting dressed. And I was just like, I couldn't imagine. So this is killing me with just the one arm. Now, shabby hip replacements are an issue. Let me just tell you, one of my siblings wrote to me the other day and said, just keeping you in the loop, I'm having a total hip done today. And I was like, why are you having a total hip? Well, we went back and forth. Then the sibling writes to me and says, all done, home by 1 p.m. I've been sleeping all afternoon, and sends me this picture. And I said, what do you mean you're home by 1 p.m.? How do they check you for infection? How do they keep up with your post-op pain? How do they look at the suture line? I have never heard of anybody being sent home after a total hip. She was home 4 hours later. I don't get that. And the response I got was, as long as it's uncomplicated, no one puts you in the hospital anymore. I just can't imagine. So then I checked in, and this is what I heard. I was driving after 1 week, pretty much back to normal routine. It's been 3 weeks, pain-free, and I walk normal again without a limp. I was like, I just can't get past the whole, I had a total hip and I was home 4 hours later. I don't get it. The house was degrading. Yeah, because my son came home from college and he's a pig. And my husband was here and he's not used to taking care of things in the house. Usually that's me. I take care of everything in the house. So, yep, I've had sciatica too. That's not good. That's it. Oh, wait. If she has perfume, it'll be called Duchess or Smug. See, hip replacements are always complicated. That's what I thought, Lisa. Hip replacements are always complicated. I can't imagine having a total hip and being home 4 hours later. I can't. I can't. I don't understand that they can do the hip thing now. Yeah. See, that's totally out of my realm of knowledge. So that's That's totally out of my realm. Hips are done as outpatient. I just was unaware of that. That's crazy. Friend had the same bandage check 3 days later. Yeah, my sibling is 63, 62, 63, somewhere in there. I'm not sure. Hey, Royal Daily Tea, she's here. But yeah. So anyway, the arm I'm sure will improve. The doctor can't see me. I'm telling you, the ER, I wasn't expecting the ER trip. It was very unexpected but necessary. I walked in crying, and I'm not a crier. My husband will tell you I have a great tolerance for pain. By the time I'm crying, I've gone as far as I can go. So 5 days in with Tylenol and lidocaine patches was as far as I could go without pain medication. Still haven't used any of the narcotics they subscribed for me. But I did take a muscle relaxer last night, and it knocked me out. 10 minutes later, I was unconscious with an ice pack on my shoulder last night. So if it really bothers you, twice a week and accept. Yeah. Remember, it's not that my husband expects me to do it all, but remember, I'm home like all day and he's at work all day. So why wouldn't I run a load of dishes? Why wouldn't I hit the button on the Shark vacuum? You know, he goes to work, he comes home, dinner's ready, house is clean. I do bring somebody in once a month to do the deep cleaning because I can no longer crawl around on my hands and knees and get the baseboards and scrub this huge shower with ceilings that are up so high. I do bring somebody in once a month to do a deep cleaning, but I maintain the house. So, you know, like I said, on day 4 or 5, no dishes done, no laundry done, no vacuuming done. I was choking. I was choking. It was terrible. So I have to do it myself. Anyway, I'm doing okay, guys. I really am. It's going to be a road, but it bothers me though that this whole thing happened and I hadn't even really done anything to hurt myself. But the doctor did warn me to take my arm out of the sling. Taking it out and straightening it out is very painful because, like I said, I can't move my arm away. I can't move it up. I can hang it down and pronate my wrist around, but that's as far as I can go right now. But that's still an improvement. It's still an improvement because, yeah. See, Card said I have trouble accepting help because I'm a control freak. Yeah, I don't like it. But like I said, when my husband did the dishes the other day, I was like, oh my God. He loaded it. He ran it. He'd emptied it. That's the first time I've seen him do that since we moved in this house 2 years ago or 3 years ago, however long we've been here. It's the first time I've seen him do that. First time. Crazy. Oh, Carol. Hey, Carol. So you guys don't worry about me. I'm fine. Stretching is important and I try, but it hurts like a mother. Like it really hurts. And I don't want to strain any more muscles that have already been strained. This is bad enough. This is, yeah. But like I said, when you consider the alternative, I'll take this and I'll run with it. That's it. Michelle, Royal Daily Tea, are you still here? I don't know if she's still here or not. Yeah, well. Anyway, lots of people do lives on Sunday. Michelle does lots of lives, and she has a lot of really nice people coming on her channel. I think she's got, there she is. I think Michelle, I think she has HD Tutor coming, and she has some other people coming, and she's got a lot of really nice lives going. And one of these days, she'll have time to come on mine. Right, Michelle? One of these days, she'll come on. Carol, the ice. Remember the old saying? Oh, that's right. Royal Daily Tea just finished with Think Beautiful. She'll put that up. Just remember, ice is nice for the first 24 to 48 hours because you want to reduce swelling. So, okay, Royal Daily Tea is going to come on. But you guys know I never go over an hour and we're 20 minutes in. So I'm just saying, I'm going to send you, I'm going to put the link up. And you come on and then I'll pull the link down. Okay. All right, here it is. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I'm going to send it through Twitter. Royal Daily Tea. Royal Daily Tea. Hang on. Give me a second. Royal Daily Tea. All right, I'm sending you a link through Twitter right now. There it is. You can join. Try that. Let's see if it went through. Let's see if I did it right. I may not have done it right. All the nice people from Michelle's life. All the nice people. Michelle does have nice people. Let's see if she pops up in my live. Waiting. Do, 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 do. I'm adding her to the stage. There she is.
Hello.
Hey, howdy, girl. Everything go well?
Yeah, we just finished our live with Think Beautiful. She's a very nice lady, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning there, so we changed it to 10 a.m. 2 hours earlier than normal, and she's lovely. That was her first live, and I was one of the first YouTubers who actually called her out a couple months ago. And then, of course, she did the whole metadata thing, and I just thought, she needed to come on and talk about that. It was really fascinating how she discovered that.
That is so past my knowledge base. Metadata.
Yeah. Well, she's not even a web person. See, I used to build websites, and so I'm a person who would look at code, and I was like, I never even thought about that. And then I guess she just said she was looking at the back end to see if she could find it, and she did. And it was just shocking to me how shoddy of web work her team had done, because you need to change the metadata when you do websites. You copy and paste, but they didn't change any of the name, and that's how she discovered it was Republic of Tea. So yeah, it was really fascinating how she was able to uncover that.
Well, what does that show you? She has incompetent people. Megan has incompetent people working for her. But that goes in with the article that just came out that said that they've gotten rid now of 25 people that we know of, and like 6 people in the last few weeks. And now they're saying they did it because they're running short of money.
Right.
And so now they've got other people working for them, and the other people working for them apparently don't do, what happened to this whole attention to detail thing? Remember?
Right.
There's attention to detail. There's no attention to detail. Oh my God. And that July 4th video, I cover that tomorrow in my tomorrow's video. So it was so staged. And what did she do? She made another, what do they call that? A crudité board. She made another fruit crudité board. She put flowers on it. She's such a one-trick pony.
Right. Well, and the thing that got to me was that was a very expensive. It was like $400 worth of food, fruit, brie, cheese, those deli meats. I mean, you know how expensive food is nowadays. That was probably $400 for just an afternoon tray that, let's be honest, she probably didn't even touch it. She doesn't look like she eats a lot. Not to be mean, but she,
Well, and then she changed clothes and did another video where she's making alcohol, and the whole thing was for her and Kelly Zafin, and that was it. That appears to be the only people that were there.
And the weird thing is, she didn't even showcase her wine. Hi, Teaspoon. I feel like a lot of people from my live are here now. They just jumped over here.
Of course, yeah, they love me too. They love me too.
They do. They do. My mom was lurking somewhere in the comments.
I did notice that now that you've said that, she did showcase her as ever jam and her honey and all this stuff, but not the wine.
No, she didn't do the wine. So it's like, for someone who's a marketer, it's really fascinating to me. Now, I don't know if I told you, but remember how I shared a refund update over on my channel? Yes. Well, they're now refunding me the $7.58.
Yeah, you told me. You told me.
So we're going to see what happens, because that was such a mess.
Did you see the blind item?
Mm-mm.
There's a blind item on Twitter. I didn't believe it, so I left it alone. But there was a blind item that said that there were multiple people getting a class action lawsuit against Megan for not refunding the shipping.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, you said she was refunding your shipping.
Uh-huh.
But that could be that they heard that they didn't refund your shipping and that blind item might not be real. You know how I feel about blind items.
Right, right. Well, exactly. Well, I saw something on Twitter. Someone was saying someone's getting lawyers, RDT, and I'm like, huh? I'm not. So yeah, it was interesting because they originally, when they refunded me, they refunded me a weird amount. 1516 was through PayPal. And then I went and did the story and it got over 100,000 views. And of course, people like HD Tutor, according to Taz, Dan Wooten, Brittany from World News Network, Rustin Dollface, Revealing the Narc. A lot of people started talking about it, and it grew on Twitter like 100,000 people. And then like the next day, it was like in my bank, authorized Snow Commerce, $7.58. So it came in like a direct authorization from Snow Commerce and not PayPal. And
I wonder if other people got their ones too.
Exactly.
Or is it just you?
I don't know. But here's the weird thing, Sue. Normally, if you buy something, when they refund you, they just refund you the whole amount, like right up front, right? But the way they did it was they did 1516. So the apricot spread was $14. The shipping was $7, half the price of the product. I mean, what a ripoff. $7. Okay.
They shouldn't have charged you anything until the item shipped.
I know. So they charged me $22.74. Then when I was told I was getting a refund 10 days later, they even sent me a tracking notification. I had a tracking number and they created the label. So what I think happened is they created the label, they paid for the postage. And then they're like, oopsie, we don't have a product. So they had already been, asked out the postage. Well, they took my money. I paid for it. So they created the label and it sat there and it was coming from a place in Illinois. And I remember I was like, well, it's been kind of a long time. Like, I haven't received anything. And I looked and it was making a label was there for like 6 days. And then we got the Dear John letter 10 days later saying,
Dear John letter.
Yeah, I call it my Dear John letter. Dear John, it's not you, it's us. You're not getting your jam. So then they wait full 10 days to say they oversold the product, even though I was confirmed, literally got a confirmation of my order immediately.
But don't you think that there's a problem that they can't keep up with the orders versus their stock? And you may not realize this. For people that are watching, you guys may not realize this, but in the 3 months since Meghan Markle launched her As Ever brand, she has been stocked for a total of, I would do a drum roll if I could, she's been stocked for a total of 2 hours. 2 hours in 3 months is how long she has had stock. And I think in her brain, there's two things that I think. Either number one, I think in her brain, she thinks this is generating interest. It's not generating interest at this point. It's pissing people off at this point. Number two, there's also the thought that she doesn't have the money to get the stock. She's like made it look like Netflix is her partner and Netflix is paying for all of this. I don't think Netflix is putting any more money in. And I think she hasn't got enough money. Remember during that interview she gave, the woman said to her, are you going to need to bring on another partner? And she said, possibly. Because I think there's not enough money for the amount of stock. That's honestly what I think. Think about it. There's like 39 million people in the United States alone. How many people in the world? If she only has 1,000 jars of jam, of course you're going to sell out in 5 minutes.
Right. And the other thing is she partnered with Snow Commerce, who has a 1 on the BBC rating.
I saw that.
They are known to oversell, Sue. They are known to do this.
I did a video on that when that first came out. I did a whole video on that. They have a horrible reputation. This is who she partnered with. And notice in the small print, it says she's not responsible.
Exactly.
So what she did was she partnered with some company. And then if you don't get your stock and you don't get your refund and you don't get this and you don't get that, it's on them, not on her. She's removed herself from the equation. I did see one person on Twitter who said that she couldn't get a refund. She couldn't get her stock. So she's done a, what do they call that? When you call the credit card company and you say, I need a reversal.
Uh-huh.
And just to be sure, they've canceled their credit card and they're getting another card. They're not even, because
Can you send me that? Because I want to talk to that person, because I found someone on Twitter who I'm speaking with, because remember, this is the second time this happened. The first time it happened was the honey gate. Remember the whole honey thing? People thought they paid for the honey. They were supposed to be refunded the honey and then given the new honey. Well, I haven't found anybody who said they were refunded and they got the new honey. Now, according to this lady, the first time that they did it, they had a situation where people paid for a product, they got an order number, and then of course they were told it was oversold. And then they went to go refund, and Snow Commerce told them, I'm sorry, your number doesn't exist. Missing orders. So I'm going to get with her and hopefully do a live, because I think there's a lot more that people just aren't saying, because her fans are just like, keep the money, Megan, it's fine. It's not fine if she's scamming people.
I think this is this comment is spot on. She's making her money selling people's information, because it's set on the website. You have to go to a special, which is why I tell people, don't go to the website. They put cookies on your computer. They track you. They sell your info. And all of a sudden you're being inundated with spam. So what you have to do is go, there's a thing on the website that says that you can opt out of having your information sold. Stay off the website. Just stay off the website. Because if you don't do things right, you're going to be inundated with spam. It's unbelievable.
Don't sign up for the newsletter.
Don't sign up for the newsletter. And people are actually asking, why would you need to sign up for the newsletter anyway when she's putting everything up on Instagram?
Right. The newsletter is where she steals your data. Because for me, when I went to the website, I paid through PayPal. And so she doesn't get that information. She doesn't get my address. She doesn't get my email. She gets the email, but she's not sending me spam because it's through a third party through PayPal. But if you do the newsletter, you are going to get major spam. So do not do the newsletter. I think someone else did it and they just got reamed with so much fakeness. But Snow Commerce, they were saying
have a bad reputation. They do. Yeah. They have a bad reputation.
They have a one.
Terrible.
I know.
So she, listen, when she put up the July 4th thing, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, wait a minute. Snow Commerce is in my city. They have bad reviews, even from employees.
Wow.
The first thing that came to my mind when she put that up is, I think she's forgetting that July 4th is the celebration of our separation from the UK. The same UK that she's demanding titles from for her kids, and that she's using a title given to her. So I don't, what can I say? If I think she's an idiot, first of all. There's a lot of information coming out saying that the kids' titles are going to be removed. It's, you know, Harry saying, well, we want the title so the kids can decide to become working royals. That's stupid. The kids will never become working royals. They have no attachment to the UK. The children need their titles removed. The truth is, they need their titles removed. They need to be removed from the line of succession. Harry needs to be removed from the line of succession. They need to just be out. And what's being said is that William is going to do that and say, I'm giving you what you asked for. You said we were the Truman Show. You said it was growing up in a goldfish bowl. I'm going to give you what you've been asking for, and I'm relieving you of any worry of the UK. You have this fabulous life in California. You're so in love with your wife. You're so in love with the kids. You love your friends there. Stay there. And that William is going to be the one to handle it, because Charles won't, but William will. Now we know what will happen as soon as that happens. Harry and Meghan are going to cry, look what they're doing to us. We're victims. But I think at this point, especially now that it's come out what Meghan did to the Queen, I was horrified when all that came out. I think it's perfectly fine to remove them and say, listen, the truth is, when Harry and Meghan said they wanted out, the Queen should have taken the Duke and Duchess titles also. Everything should have been removed and they should have been sent. So
I'm actually going to work on a video about the whole thing with the Queen Elizabeth and her friend and everything that she said.
I think it was her cousin. I believe I redressed myself. I believe that was her cousin. Right. And the thing is, these notes were before the cousin died, before Megxit. So she had no idea that any of this was going to happen. She has no skin in the game. There's no smear campaign. These were her notes of what happened, her conversations with the queen, before the wedding, during the wedding, and right after the wedding.
I wish she would have stayed alive. I mean, I wish she could have made it through that time, because that would have been very interesting to hear what she said,
Yeah.
after Megxit. But yeah, we actually talked about this on my live with Think Beautiful. But I know a lot of people are saying that Charles is weak. I don't think he's weak. I think what happened with Charles is because he's, a lot older. He's waited his whole life, 70 years. He kind of stepped into the shoes of his mother. His job is just to kind of keep it in place as like a keep holder. I call him a placeholder king for William, because a lot of people were thinking the monarchy might end after Queen Elizabeth, which we know it wouldn't. But Charles is kind of just trying to keep the status quo. He's not going to make any waves. He's not going to do anything. He has cancer. Yeah.
He has cancer.
Yeah. He's going to be there as a placeholder for William when William is ready, hopefully, with Catherine, because Catherine is still battling cancer and they have young kids. So we don't want them to take the throne anytime soon, but it could be sooner than we hope.
I hope Charles can hang on for at least 5 more years, because if Charles can hang on for 5 more years, George will be 17, Charlotte will be like 15, and Louis will be like 13. And at that point, they're older and they don't need as much attention. And, now I will say this, the palace hasn't really been responding to a lot of stuff. They every now and then they do respond. Like, for instance, when Meghan changed Archie's birth certificate and she kept insisting it was the palace that did it, the palace made her remove her name. And Omid Scobie came out and said, this is horrible. What woman would want to be nameless on her child's birth certificate? And the palace spoke out and said it was the Sussexes team that did it.
Well, didn't they do that because they copied Catherine, had the same thing? Wasn't her name the Duchess of whatever, Cambridge?
Thank you, Marie. Yes. But the point is, let me just show what she wrote.
Yes, that's the lady I'm going to speak to. Yes. HRH Lady J. That's the lady I'm going to speak to.
But the point is, the palace spoke out and said, no. Your team changed it. And then they came back and said, well, it was just a misunderstanding. Our team did it so that everything all the paperwork would jive together. But the point is, the Sussexes went with that narrative until the palace spoke out. Well, now they're going with that narrative again. They interfered with the passports and they interfered. Well, the palace spoke out and said, King Charles is busy with his cancer treatments and running a monarchy. He doesn't get involved in petty things like stopping passports. And I was glad the palace came out and said that. So the palace is starting to fight back a little bit more. But the fact that somebody had these notes from this woman and handed them over to an author, knowing that when this hit, it was going to be big. And that's exactly what happened. Now we know how poorly Meghan treated the Queen before the wedding. It wasn't just Harry. It was Meghan. Meghan treated the Queen badly. Harry treated the Queen badly. The Queen had Meghan's number from the get-go. She figured Meghan out. It said in the notes, she couldn't understand why Meghan was so obsessed with fame.
Well, we all called this up. We've all been saying this for the past 5 years now. She's just pretty much confirming everything that we've been saying. And you could tell, like, the vibe at the wedding, Sue, the Queen was not happy. Nobody was happy. The royal family was like, oh God, they're getting married, because I think they saw the real Meghan behind the scenes.
Did you see that picture? There's one picture where Harry and Meghan are sitting here and everybody's behind them. And the only person in the entire picture who's smiling is Meghan.
Oh yeah. She was the canary. But the thing that's interesting is, like, the whole vibe of the wedding was just off. Like, they were trying really hard to accommodate her, but they had the drama with her dad. Will he be there? Will he not be there? Charles stepped in. You could tell we heard rumblings behind the scenes that there was issues, but we were all hoping for the best. But the fact that this lady is just coming out and confirming what we all kind of suspected, it's like Christmas morning, and it's just really it's just really sad though how they treated the Queen, because Harry always acts like he had a special relationship with his grandma and he wants to make sure she has the right people around her and this and that, and Meghan loved the Queen, but they were mistreating the Queen.
Well, here you go. So this Lisa H just said it perfectly. This information was outside of the palace. The palace was not involved in the release. The palace didn't know these papers existed. Somebody found these papers after this woman died and handed them off to a journalist. The palace had nothing to do with it. They have no skin in the game. And it come to find out, everything we knew, everything we heard was absolutely correct. And now we know really why William and Harry fell out, because William could see what was going on. Everybody could see it but Harry. And for the Queen to say that Meghan engineered them, that she was not really in love with Harry, that it was all engineered. They could tell it was engineered. I mean,
100%. Like I said, I believe she stalked him. She wanted to marry a rich UK husband, right? She wanted a rich UK husband, and she basically, for 18 months kind of circled the upper crust, the aristocracy, was trying to get in, and she befriended several people in his outer circle.
Mm-hmm.
She was working her way in. Eugenie, Misha, Nunu, all of that stuff. Yeah. She was befriending a lot of people to get into that circle. So this was a plan.
Have you noticed though? Maybe it's just me, but and everybody who's watching, you guys notice that you really don't hear anything about their philanthropic work anymore. Everything is Meghan's As Ever jam, Meghan's As Ever honey, Meghan's wine, Meghan's brand, Meghan's flowers, Meghan's. You never hear anything anymore about Archwell or any philanthropic work that they do. Nothing, because the truth is they never really were philanthropic. They got money from other people, gave that money out, and then stood back and said, look at us, aren't we wonderful? When the truth is the money that they gave wasn't even their money. It was money other people donated. And the first couple of years that they were in, Archwell was going, they got no money. Then somebody gave them millions. Don't forget, there's millions missing that they said would be on the next tax return, and it wasn't. Nobody can find the money. We know that they've set it up where they're allowed to keep 95% of all the donations. The donations have dropped dramatically. So Archwell is not the cash cow that they thought it was going to be. I personally, here's my thought process. You can tell me if you think I'm wrong. Here's my thought process. First of all, we know that Spotify called them effing grifters and cut their contract. They could have made 20 million. Instead, they made maybe $1 million because they didn't hit the metrics. Then she signed up with Lemonada. Then a year went by. Then it got pushed back. Then there was another issue. Then finally Lemonada came out and it bombed. And all of a sudden she says, well, I have to hold off now on doing these podcasts because I'm spread too thin. And no, that's not what's going on. I can assure you that Lemonada axed her as well because it didn't go well. So now her Lemonada deal is gone. And now the Netflix deal is going to be gone in September. And if you remember that interview she gave with that woman, she said, well, we just finished post-production. And I'm thinking, what do you mean you just finished post-production of your Netflix show? As soon as she said that, I went, oh, okay. They redid the last 8 episodes. Right. The first 8 got killed. She talked over everybody. She did the same thing over and over. So they went through and they re-edited and they probably retaped some stuff and they redid it hoping that it would be more appealing to the masses. That's what I think they did. Do I think it's going to be more appealing? No. She does the exact same thing. She makes flowers and she makes these boards and she puts flowers on them. Everything that she has shown you is available on Pinterest. And now she's being sued because somebody put the bath salts together, a woman with diabetes, and she's got burns. And now she's suing. And don't you think that Netflix should have put some sort of a disclaimer saying, if you're going to follow this recipe, please make sure you check with your doctor first. If you have a pre-existing condition, no disclaimers, nothing.
Right. They should have explained about the carrier oils and don't put essential oils directly on your skin. You always need to have a carrier oil diluted or an essential oil diluted in a carrier oil. And she should have had the recipe. She should have explained that in detail. This is the amount and, be cautious, whatever. But yeah, they're very loose with instructions. And again, I'm surprised, like you said, that there could be a class action lawsuit with the refunds. So because, people are always out there, like I said, they're out there for a buck. But yeah, if they're cheated out of money, it could be a major deal, especially since the first run that she did, we don't know exactly if she did refund those people. So that's why I did my whole thing, was to document the process. Now, I do think the wine is going to go a lot smoother for her. But again, the whole thing with her selling out that scarcity tactic, they're calling her the Duchess of Fake Stock. And then she sits there and gloats and looks at people like, don't you wish you were like me, selling out
No,
in
no,
minutes?
I wouldn't have her life. I mean, I'm serious. I wouldn't have her life. The amount of effort she puts into trying to make everybody think she's perfect. Her friends are perfect. Her life is perfect. Her kids are perfect. Look at my thousands and thousands of dollars. The whole time she was making that crudité port in her video, she was flashing her 2.5, 3 carat diamond pinky ring. You don't cook with jewelry on. Jewelry is dirty. It's nasty. It's got germs and all kinds of gunk on it. You don't cook with jewelry. And then at one point she dropped something in the jam or her
Oh,
spray.
she dipped a piece of raspberry and
She picked up the raspberry. She shoved it in her mouth. And then she went right back to making the board. She didn't wash her hands. So now her spit is on the food.
and
Disgusting.
I do find it interesting that she didn't have a lot of friends there. She didn't have Harry. Maybe he was filming. She didn't have the kids there. I mean, 4th of July is about family. It's about kids, about fireworks. Nothing that she showed the cupcakes that she allegedly made with her kids. But aren't you a little surprised? Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think she didn't have her kids in there because she got a lot of flack for using her kids?
Listen, she's using the kids because that's the last thing she has left to sell is her children. And, I've said this so many times. I have said this so many times since I found out she gave her daughter the name Lilibet and she copyrighted that name. It's going to be Lilibet clothing, Lilibet dolls, Lilibet school supplies, Lilibet pencils, Lilibet doll. I mean, I'm telling you, when she said, I can't wait to go into business with my daughter, I'm thinking, you're absolutely going to merch that kid. That's exactly why they used the Queen's name. The Queen didn't want that name used. She was upset about it. Now we all know that she was very upset. She didn't want the kid name. Howard's like, I'm going to sue anybody who says otherwise. No, when you called your grandmother and said, I want to name the baby after you, she thought the name was Elizabeth.
Right.
If you had said Lilibet, she would have said, that's my nickname. No, don't do that.
It was just so disrespectful the way they bulldozed over her, wouldn't share the wedding details. I mean, the audacity. Could you imagine marrying into the royal family with the longest ruling monarch, and she asks you a question about your dress and you're like, no, sorry, you can't know about it? What?
Well, she did say, remember, she did the veil.
Right.
With all the Commonwealth, country flowers in it. But the Queen even said, you've already been married and divorced.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have a long veil like that. So I think that's why she didn't want to share.
And she didn't want her to wear white.
And she didn't want her to wear white. She should have worn like an off-white or yellow. She didn't have to have this huge dress with this long train. She didn't have to have all that. She already did it once.
So this person said, someone on YouTube pointed out that the white flowers she put on her fruit board are poisonous jasmine. I don't know.
Oh my God, you
Did they
guys.
use her fake sprinkled flowers?
She put flowers, she pulled the flowers off, and I thought, how many more times are we going to have to see a board with cut fruit and flowers thrown on it?
She's the princess of Pinterest. But the fact that she didn't use her fake flower sprinkle, she didn't use her wine. She had the honey, but we didn't see her use the honey. I think maybe she drizzled it on a pizza. They made like those really expensive, look good. Like the food looked good, but the point is that it was so much food.
It's Pinterest.
It's so expensive.
There's nothing original.
Yeah.
Where's the original content?
No kids, no family. Just dancing around in her Wimbledon t-shirt,
Which, by the way, there's a close-up of that shirt. There's a button. She left it unbuttoned, and you can see the top of her bra.
It's like so low cut. Who cooks in a low cut shirt like that? It's just bizarre.
And she only brought that shirt out because Catherine was wearing the same shirt when she went to visit the hospital.
Well, and it's also Wimbledon week, and she wore that to Wimbledon, right, with Catherine.
Right.
Yeah, she's very predictable. So I'm working on some videos today, but we've had really bad floods going on here in Texas.
Yes. God.
Yeah, it was 30 minutes from.
Oh my God! I have to tell you what the latest rumor is.
What?
Ready? Remember when Megan went to Uvalde?
Oh God, please no.
The rumor is She plans on showing up to tour the flooding.
Oh God.
Probably where that camp was, where all those kids were killed.
Yeah, it was about 2 hours away from me, Kerrville, Texas, which she can't. The roads are closed. Bridges. I mean, it has been.
When did that ever stop her? The area she toured after the fires was closed also.
Right, right. And also the flood was in Georgetown, which I actually lived in Georgetown until I moved last year. So I would have been evacuated if I still was there. So thank you, God. But I just feel so bad for all the people because we live in central Texas, so we don't expect to have floods, but we are by the lake and the river, and it is just a nightmare.
Well, the rumor is,
I tell y'all, Texans take care of Texans, and HEB is our grocery store, and they've already been out there before FEMA. They've already been bringing out food and supplies, and people are like, "Oh, Texas, you don't have FEMA." I'm like, "Honey, we're Texas. We got Texas." We already had people in trucks lined up with their flags. People are lined up down the street to help, because that's one thing I have to say as a proud Texan. We support our own. So anyways, but if you can send some prayers, because it is devastating. There's a lot of children and people missing.
Yeah, I heard about the kids. It was heartbreaking. And then on Twitter, I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I mean, there's been a lot of people talking about the fact that they expect Megan to show up, private jet, fly on over, tour the area. I'm just like, I can't. Listen, somebody who still goes on about family and love and joy and togetherness, who won't contact her own father, who's very ill. And somebody else told me that when her father died, that she's waiting till her father passes away to make allegations against him. I think at this point, everybody would know those allegations are false. I mean, if she were to make those kinds of allegations against him, I think that would absolutely be the pin in the balloon for her. So, I mean, it's terrible.
Vicky says her daughter had to be evacuated. I am so sorry, Vicky. Sending my prayers to you. And yeah, I don't think my Governor Abbott is not going to let some disaster tourists come around. That's not going to fly in Texas. We're not Newsom, honey. That is not going to work.
Well, that's another thing. That was Governor Newsom who arranged for that tour because he's in their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Boy.
But that's not going to happen. So, all right. So anyway, this was, like I said, this was going to be a really, how I feel about my lives going over an hour. Don't worry about me. Yes, I'm still in my sling. I do take the sling off for a few hours a day. I'm on my pain medicine. Well, I haven't actually taken it yet. I'm on my Tylenol. I'm on my lidocaine patches. I've got my sling. I'm working hard to get my arm, but it's the weirdest thing. I'm telling you, Michelle, growing old is not for the weak.
Of course, it isn't.
Better than the alternative, but it's not for the weak. I'll just say that. So
right.
It'd be one thing if I actually injured myself, but this is just crazy. But yeah, the ER visit was unexpected, but the medicine, the muscle relaxer, is really the thing that I took one last night, and I actually slept for I woke up about 5 hours later because the ice pack had melted and it had gone warm.
So basically you have to wear a sling, an ice pack, you have pain meds, and then at night you take the muscle relaxer to go to sleep.
Well, I'm on the Tylenol because I don't like narcotics. So, but I had I ended up in the ER crying. The pain was so bad, and they gave me and I said to the woman, I don't want IV medication. Like, I'm begging you, I don't do narcotics. She goes, please just take something by mouth. So she gave it to me. I came home along with the muscle relaxer. And so if I take it, if I feel like I need it, I'll take it at night before I go to bed because it helps me sleep. Mm-hmm. But other than that, no. Frank, my husband is like, go ahead and take a half a muscle relaxer. I'm like, that stuff knocks me out. I'm going to sleep 24 hours a day if I do that. I'm not doing it. So yeah. I'm getting there, but I'm just telling you, this is people.
Well, take your off. Take your day.
People saw me on the Sidleys with the sling. They were like, what? It's like, it's okay. It's okay. But it was just unexpected, and it just got worse and worse. And it was just one of those things that happens. And I said it earlier, I don't know if you were on, I've been walking around the house for the last 4 days in underwear and my tank top that I sleep in and nothing else, because getting my arm in and out of a shirt was about impossible. I wasn't going anywhere anyway. So you know, and it's hard to get pants up and down with one hand. So I just basically walked around in underwear and a shirt for the last 4 days.
Well, hey, you're at home.
Yes, yes. Yes,
Oh,
somebody else said, yes, muscle relaxer. Shaz, I'm right-handed, thank God. And this is my left arm. So
oh
yeah,
wow.
I know. Could you imagine if it had been my right? Oh my God. That would have been it. Horrible, horrible.
Well, hopefully it gets better. I mean, did they tell you how many weeks it's going to take you to get better?
It could take weeks before I get partial use back. And the ortho can't see me till late next week. My arm will not go like this. It will not go like this. It'll go across my body and down, and that's it.
Are you going to be able to make videos?
I am. I made a video. I got one up already for tomorrow. It's
Oh,
going to
look
be a
at
good
you.
one.
Okay.
I can do it with one hand. So, well, thank you for coming on,
Yes,
Michelle.
thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And I hope everybody's having a fabulous weekend. Hang out, Michelle, for just a second. I hope everybody's having a fabulous weekend. And yeah, go enjoy. The weather's great.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.